my name's Katie and welcome to my channel, and today I've got with me, what's your name?
Bella.
It's Bella. I've got Bella with me, and what are we going to do a video on today?
Fishing.
Yeah, going and seeing the fish store?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yay! I'm really excited to be doing this video today because I'm on the Gold Coast and I stayed here last night for my sister's birthday. So I thought it would be a great opportunity to show you a really nice reef store that we've got here in Burleigh. So I went to this reef store when I set up my saltwater tank. So I kept some clownfish and some coral just for a little bit, and they were really helpful. And then what I'm thinking too, because I'm just in the area, I might go and stop by Arcy Discus Aquariums, which I think used to be called Living Reef Aquariums. I'll just get permission and everything to film like I did last time, and hopefully you guys enjoy checking it out. All right, let's go. We're in Burleigh on the Gold Coast. It's a beautiful day. It has been a bit rainy lately, but it's good that the weather is nice. So one of the main tanks I actually really wanted to show is the first one that you see when you walk in. Used to have a lot of coral in it, so this would have been a couple of years ago when I came in here. But they actually got a leak, he was saying, in it, and the stand was a bit rusty too, so they've just actually reset this up. This one here, I think he said it's a green shooting star polyp, I believe, and they used to have a bunch of this in this tank, and I really loved it because it almost looks like grass. It's really cool. So what I did get from here as well were some lids. So I think it was one of these lids actually initially for my African Cichlid tank, and it was quite good, but the problem I think was because it's a 6-foot tank, it was a little bit difficult putting a lid like that together on a 6-foot tank. So I can see how it would be probably easier for tanks that aren't quite as long, but I did struggle a little bit with that Red Sea lid. The tank that I might just show you first is actually the one that's more beginner friendly kind of corals and stuff, because I thought this video might be helpful for anyone who's considering getting into saltwater, and just to kind of show you, I guess, what I was told when I first came in and some of the corals that I was shown. So take you to over here. So this one has the most beginner friendly kind of corals and stuff in it, because they're the ones that can tolerate water that's not quite as clean. So I remember I actually did get one of these ones here in my tank when I first set it up, and also one of these ones there as well, and they were pretty easy to look after. I found they did pretty well and really beautiful as well. So I guess this kind of shows you some of the really nice ones that you can get that are on the more simple side for looking after. So more on this left side was the beginner friendly ones as well. Yeah, so just the ones in here. And I believe that I actually did have one of these too when I first set it up. I think it was one of those ones potentially that I put in there. And then I also got some of these ones too, which were really cool. Now these ones, Ben was saying, are the more kind of medium level type of corals, so intermediate ones over in these tanks here. And I remember these Hemmer ones, I always really wanted to get them, but I just didn't have my tank well established enough, and I wasn't, I guess, well versed enough in salt water to buy something like that. So I never kind of made it to these types of corals because they're a little bit more finicky and difficult to look after. Anemones in here. So I never got to keep an anemone either. I would have liked to work towards that, but I think that my tank was a little bit too small to keep something like this. And also I remember at the time learning about that you kind of need a pretty well-established tank for anemones I think that it's recommended to have had it running for at least like 6 months to get something like this. And the coolest thing about these are they're actually alive, so they actually move around the tank. And so sometimes what happens is you actually end up finding them like getting into your filter and stuff like that. And they'll move and try and find a place that they're happy with. Show you some of the fish. Oh, they've actually got seahorses. How cool is that? Wow. And then the other thing that I really like that they've got in here is they've got heaps of different clownfish. So you can get the typical kind of Nemo looking ones, but then they often have these really, really cool different varieties of them in here too. And so with clownfish, I think that what tends to happen is if you put two together, one ends up being male and one ends up being female. So if you were looking at getting into saltwater and you just wanted to set up kind of a beginner-friendly tank, you might look at some of those soft corals that I showed you and maybe getting like a couple of clownfish at first and seeing how that goes. And the other thing that's really fun about saltwater too is that you can get a cleanup crew in your tank. You actually kind of need one. That's one of the first things that you put in there. So you can get things like shrimp and stuff. So I really like all the different types of saltwater shrimps that you can get. And then you also can get things like snails and stuff that you put in your tank. Oh, that's the other thing you can get too. You can get these little hermit crabs. And they're so fascinating to watch. I remember I had some hermit crabs as part of my cleanup crew in mine. And you actually have to get them shells, so as they grow they come out of their shell and swap shells, and then if there's not enough shells then they can get a bit aggressive towards each other. So you need to make sure that you've got shells for them to grow into and everything in the tank. And then over here they've got a selection of their live rock. So when I first set mine up, what they did was they got me the live rock and everything, and I put that in my tank while it was cycling. And I used Dr. Tim's bacteria, I believe it was, to cycle it and added ammonia in. And then the first thing I added was my cleanup crew. And then after I had them in there and the tank was all cycled and the live rock had been in there for a while it was cycling, that's when I added my clownfish in. And then after I added my clownfish, I added some of my corals as well. And everything went pretty smoothly. As far as the corals go, I didn't have a super strong light or anything, I just had a very entry-level one. And I don't know if they thrived that well because I didn't get into it an awful lot. It just really wasn't my thing, having to maintain it and get the salt water and stuff, because I was buying salt water for the tank and it was all just a little bit difficult, I found. I remember them telling me as well that if you go to the Spit, which is in Surfers Paradise, kind of like North Gold Coast area, in the mornings you see a lot of people who own reef tanks going to the beach, and they're actually got like their trucks and their pumps and everything, and they pump the salt water from the ocean into like these big buckets and stuff to use for their tanks. So you can do that, or you can actually mix the water yourself. And then the other thing that you need for salt water too is a refractometer, something like that. It's just a thing that measures the level of salinity in the water. So there's a few things that you have to buy and stuff, and bits and pieces and more things to think about when you're keeping salt water that kind of complicates it a little bit, I guess. Because of my lack of knowledge in the saltwater realm, I just went and spoke to Ben, who's working here, and asked if there's anything that he thinks is particularly cool that I should actually include in the video. And he pointed out a few things to me that I'd really like to show you. So come and have a look at these guys here. So these little yellow tangs here, apparently these are quite rare because they're illegal to take from anywhere in the ocean, and you've only been recently able to actually keep them. So they're pretty hard to come by, these guys. And they're really beautiful. And then the other thing that is pretty cool is this forest fire bubble tip anemone. Check out this. They're really beautiful. And then I'm so glad that I asked, because I almost missed this little guy who's looking at me over there in the tank. So the little dog-faced pufferfish. I love pufferfish, they are so cool. I would really, really, really love to keep one day. Oh my gosh. Look at his little face. Look at those buck teeth. What a cute little fish. That is really cool. Apparently they've got pretty strong jaws, so I'm not going to put my hands in there or anything. But what a cute little guy. He's very, very inquisitive, isn't he? yeah, I think that's mainly everything. If you live in the area, definitely come and check it out because it's really great. They do normally have a few more fish and stuff in here. They're just a little bit out of stock at the moment, but hopefully this gives you a bit of an idea of what the store is like and the range of things that they've got and everything, and you enjoyed it. Alright, so I'm at Living Reef Aquariums, or Arcy Discus Aquariums it's called now, which is kind of like the OG store. I'll just turn this around and show you. So this is the store that I went to the most when it came to my planted setup and my discus and stuff like that, so I'm actually really excited to show it to you. Ross is the owner, he's here at the moment, but he doesn't really want to be on video, so I'm going to try and not get him in the shots, but I think that you're going to really, really love this store. It's awesome. They have great setups, they always have. Alright. So this is right at the front. I really am excited to show you these guys. These huge fighting fish. They're so cool. So to give you reference, I'll try and put my hand there to show you how big they are. I'd never actually seen these guys until Ross got them in here, but I love them. I think they're so friendly. So he's got this set up and then just some plants and stuff like that, the front too. And Ross does some really beautiful CO2 setups. So he's got this one here at the front, which is nice, and there is a dog at my feet. Hello. Hey. He's sniffing my feet. And then this is actually under the counter, which is really cool. I love the creativity of this setup, having the plants in bowls and stuff like that. It's awesome. And then this setup here is something I would love to have one day. It's kind of like a river tank, and it's got the rainbow fish in it, which I really love. This one actually had a sad event happen to it. I don't know what it was. Something got in the water and a lot of the fish died, and it was so sad because this was really, really beautiful. It had some gorgeous fish in it and some really interesting catfish type fish that didn't make it. So I wish that I could have shown those to you, but still a really beautiful setup. This would be really nice, I think, having it in your house as like a tank that came out from the wall, like a, what do you call them? Can't think of the name, but those tanks that you can walk around. Then I'm in love with this setup. So this one has a AI prime light on it, which are the same lights that I've got on my tank. And this kind of shows you what those lights can actually do when it comes to growing plants. So this is a CO2 setup. And it should be, I think it's the freshwater AI prime, can't talk today, that they've got on this one. It's so beautiful. Really love it. And now this one here, I used to love this tank. It had really nice carpeting plant in it, but Ross was saying he just took it out the other day because he didn't have time to trim it, and he just decided that he's going to redo it. But I'll put a photo up to show you what this one used to look like. But at least you can see the nice little yellow shrimp that are in here now. He's got some little pea puffers, which you don't really see all that often. So just up here, a really cute little fish, a bit expensive because in Australia we don't have many pea puffers around, so sometimes they can go for like, they're $250 each or 5 for $1,000 here, whereas in America they're pretty cheap because you guys have a lot of them there. And then this is kind of like a shrimp setup that he's doing. So we've got some little fire red cherry shrimp in here. And the tanks are a little bit empty at the moment. I think just because the way that the world is at the moment, Ross was saying that some of the stores are a bit hesitant to get too much stock in. So that's why a lot of the stores don't have a lot right now, because they don't want to order too much supply. But they've always got really nice scaping stuff here. And I'll show you this. This is another really creative thing that I love that they've done. So you can get substrate from here, like help yourself to it. And they've also got filter media and stuff too. So I think that I got some of my crushed coral from the other place, but I also think I got some here too. So $1.50 per 100 grams for the coral rubble, which I've got in my filters too, which I'll show you. I'm actually doing a video on my filtration at the moment too. And then I also got some of that Seachum matrix as well from here. which is cool. Alright, what I'm going to do is just quickly walk upstairs and show you some of the stuff that he's got up there as well. But I'm just mindful there's some people in the store, so I might just turn the camera off for now and then I'll just start refilming when I get up there. Okay, so I just come upstairs and I'll show you up here what they've got. So this is where the bulk of the fish are at the moment and some of the plants. The first thing I want to show you is over here, another really creative thing that Ross has done. So he's making this tank one that's purely for selling plants, which is really cool. They did have more of a selection in here before, but again, it's the same thing. Not a huge selection right now, but this was really amazing when there was some more plants and stuff in here. Still nice though, really cool. Such a good idea. And I did see a really cool little fish in here too. See if I can find it. This one here, this little black one. It's a bit of a glare, it might be hard to see, but really cool. I'll have to ask what type of fish that is. It's very interesting looking. And then they actually do have some African cichlids as well here. It says we're still growing. So this is the colony down here that's been having the babies. Really beautiful. Nice big electric yellows. And then they've got some Venestus as well and some mixed peacock cichlids in here. And then there's also some Tanganyikan cichlids too. So these are not Eureka red peacocks. These are, what are they called? Butterfly or princess cichlids, something like that. So, didn't mean to scare them. It looks like they've been breeding in here too. There's some little baby ones, which is pretty cool. These guys are cute. I actually don't know what these ones are, but they're really cool. I like the little black one that's sitting on here. Ooh, never seen these before. How cool are they? Some bristle noses and stuff in here too to choose from. So always got a pretty good range in here as well, and another store that tends to stock kind of more unique, interesting fish, I find. One of the things that I love about this store is that they always have ridiculously good deals when you look upstairs. So they've got sometimes 70% off things. This is where I got the senai from for really cheap, and you know, even like 40% off some of these foods and stuff. Always really well priced and really good deals. And this is the store that I actually bought my Waterbox tank from too, I forgot to mention. So my African cichlid fish tank that I've got was ordered through here. And the delay in getting it, when it took like half a year, wasn't anything to do with the store. It was to do with shipping it from the US and Waterbox themselves, because I think my tank missed the ship maybe. So it was more like a freight company kind of issue. But yeah. So they sell Waterbox here, you just order them online. I just thought I'd quickly show you too, the other thing that's really cool that they've been doing is they have these little codes that you can scan, and they have them under some of the fish, so then you can automatically Google them basically and get some information about them. It's pretty cool. Alright, I'm gonna head back downstairs. So I used to really like down here, there used to be tanks of fighting fish, so kind of running down there, but just got a bit difficult to maintain, and people would stop on the stairs all the time to look at them, so it wasn't super convenient. Hello. Alright, so I just finished up doing all of my filming on the Gold Coast, and I'm going to head back to Brisbane now. I also got this ProScan JBL thing to try out, which should be interesting. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment down below, let me know what you thought, and if you're enjoying my content, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Not sure what this is. I have to ask about that.